Imagine waking up one morning to find that the life you are living is not the life you wanted. You are stressed, distracted, carrying weight you never meant to gain, or stuck in a career that feels uninspiring. You look in the mirror and ask yourself, how did I end up here? The truth is, almost no one arrives at failure through a single dramatic mistake. More often, decline is the quiet result of tiny choices repeated day after day. Choosing the couch over the walk, checking your phone instead of talking to your partner, putting off a small task until tomorrow and then again the next day. Each choice feels harmless in the moment, but together they carve out a destiny. Now picture the opposite. You take small, almost invisible steps in the other direction. You do 2 push-ups before bed. You drink 1 glass of water instead of soda. You read 5 pages of a book instead of scrolling your feed. At first, it looks like nothing has changed. No one applauds. The scale does not move. But beneath the surface, a compounding process has begun. These tiny steps quietly build momentum until one day, without warning, you break through into transformation. You are fitter, sharper, calmer, more confident. People call you lucky or say it happened overnight, but you know it was never about luck. It was the accumulation of small habits, layered over time, that redefined who you are. This is the quiet miracle of human behavior. The greatest changes are born not from sweeping gestures, but from the invisible power of consistent habits. What feels trivial in the moment can be destiny in disguise. And that is what this book is about. How to master the small actions that shape every part of our lives. This is a summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear, an independent summary created for educational purposes. If this summary resonates with you, I encourage you to purchase the full book and explore it in greater depth. The book is worth reading because it reframes how we think about progress. Instead of chasing sudden breakthroughs, it shows why sustainable change comes from systems, not goals. It explains why habits are the compound interest of self-improvement and offers a clear framework for building good ones and breaking bad ones. Whether you want to improve your health, your career, your relationships, or your mindset, the lessons here apply universally because they target the root of behavior itself. The story begins with the idea of marginal gains. James Clear highlights the transformation of British cycling under coach Dave Brailsford, who believed in the aggregation of small improvements. By tweaking everything from hand-washing routines to pillow choices, the team went from decades of mediocrity to dominating the Olympics and the Tour de France. The lesson is simple but powerful. 1% improvements compound into remarkable results when stacked across time. Habits, Clear argues, are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money grows through interest, the effects of habits multiply with repetition. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you end up 37 times better by the end of it. If you get 1% worse, the decline is just as dramatic. This truth works silently, for or against you, and explains why habits are the most powerful force shaping our futures. Progress, however, does not appear linear. Clear introduces the idea of the plateau of latent potential, the frustrating phase when effort does not seem to deliver results. It is like heating an ice cube. Nothing seems to change as the temperature rises from 25 to 31 degrees, but at 32, the cube suddenly melts. The breakthrough was not sudden. It was stored in all the tiny increments that came before. Many people quit during the valley of disappointment, believing nothing is happening, when in fact progress is quietly building. Habits require patience to reveal their compounding effects. To make this real, Clear distinguishes between goals and systems. Goals are about outcomes, losing weight, writing a book, or winning a championship. Systems are the processes that lead to those outcomes. Exercising regularly, writing daily, or practicing consistently. Everyone shares the same goals. What separates winners from losers is the system they follow. Focusing too much on goals can even backfire. They create a finish line mentality where success feels temporary and happiness is postponed until the next milestone. Systems, on the other hand, allow you to keep improving indefinitely, regardless of results in the moment. Here lies one of the book's central themes. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If you want lasting results, do not ask, what goal do I want? But rather, what system am I running each day? But systems themselves are only part of the story. Clear emphasizes that habits are not just about external outcomes. They're deeply tied to identity. Most people try to change by focusing on outcomes. I want to lose 10 pounds. Others focus on processes. I will follow this diet. But the most powerful layer of change is identity. I am a healthy person. When your habits are rooted in who you believe you are, they stick. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. You no longer run because you want to lose weight. You run because you see yourself as a runner. Identity and habits form a feedback loop. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Skipping a cigarette is not just resisting temptation. It is proof you're the kind of person who does not smoke. Reading one page is not just a small task. It is evidence you are a reader. The more votes you cast for a chosen identity, the stronger it becomes. Identity change is not achieved in a moment, but accumulated through repeated actions that align with who you want to be. Habits, then, become the bridge between who you are and who you wish to be. Each repetition is a small vote cast in favor of the person you want to embody. This is why real transformation is not about setting bold targets, but about showing up daily, even in ways that feel almost too small to matter. The weight of evidence eventually tips. What once felt like an act of willpower turns into proof of identity. At that point, consistency becomes effortless because you are no longer trying to act against yourself. You are simply being who you are. To understand how to build habits that last, James Clear introduces a simple but powerful model built around 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. These steps are the building blocks of all behavior. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. The craving is the motivation, the desire that gives the behavior energy. The response is the actual action, the habit you perform. The reward is the benefit you gain, which teaches your brain to remember and repeat the loop. When a habit becomes automatic, it is because these 4 elements have become tightly linked in your mind. From this foundation comes a practical framework, the 4 laws of behavior change. To create a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. To break a bad habit, you reverse the formula. Hide the cues, make the craving unattractive, make the action difficult, and remove the reward. This framework is deceptively simple, but it captures the essence of why some habits stick while others fade. The first law, make it obvious, reminds us that what grabs our attention shapes our behavior. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow each morning so you are reminded at night. If you want to eat healthier, leave fruit on the counter instead of hiding it in the fridge. Our environment quietly nudges us far more than motivation ever could. Likewise, if you want to break a habit, you must remove its cues. Hide the cigarettes, delete the app, keep junk food out of the house. When a behavior is invisible, it becomes far easier to ignore. The second law, make it attractive, deals with desire. We are drawn to habits that promise pleasure. If a habit feels dull, it will never last. The trick is to pair something you want with something you need. Listen to your favorite music only while exercising. Allow yourself to watch a show only while ironing clothes. This principle, known as temptation bundling, transforms chores into rituals you actually look forward to. On the other side, to weaken a bad habit, you must reveal the truth about it. Make the consequences vivid. Remind yourself that cigarettes blacken your lungs, or that overspending now robs your future self of freedom. Habits thrive when they are attractive. They wither when the illusion of pleasure is stripped away. The third law, make it easy, recognizes that friction is the enemy of consistency. Human beings follow the path of least resistance. If you want to play the guitar more, keep it in the middle of the living room, not hidden in the case. If you want to work out, lay your clothes out the night before. Reduce the steps between intention and action until the behavior is almost unavoidable. Clear also offers the powerful 2-minute rule. Any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to start. Read one page, put on your running shoes, write one sentence. The point is not the size of the action, but the act of showing up. Once you begin, momentum carries you forward. Conversely, to break a bad habit, increase friction. Make it harder to access the behavior. Cancel subscriptions, remove apps, unplug the console. If you want to stop scrolling in bed, charge your phone in another room. Every barrier counts. The fourth law, make it satisfying, is about reinforcement. We repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. The challenge is that many good habits feel unsatisfying in the moment. Going to the gym, eating vegetables, saving money, while bad habits feel immediately gratifying even though their costs accumulate later. To counter this imbalance, you must bring instant satisfaction into your good habits. Track your progress visibly on a calendar. Transfer a pound into a fun account every time you cook a meal at home. Give yourself a small reward right after a healthy action, so your brain begins to crave the behavior itself. For bad habits, do the opposite. Make them unsatisfying by introducing immediate pain. Use accountability partners who know when you break a promise. Set up a system where skipping your habit costs you money or reputation. Humans are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Align that wiring with the habits you want to live by, and change becomes inevitable. When these 4 laws work together, they form a kind of behavioral compass. They guide you toward actions that support your identity and away from those that sabotage it. But Clear also warns that mastery requires patience. Progress is not a straight line. Habits may feel pointless for weeks or months before the compounding effect becomes visible. This is why persistence is the ultimate advantage. Most people quit before the curve bends in their favor. Those who keep going cross into territory where growth feels exponential. To stay the course, you must fall in love with boredom. The reality is that lasting habits often become dull. Athletes train the same drills day after day. Writers type line after line without fanfare. Success belongs to those who can do the ordinary for an unusually long time. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline, built through identity-driven habits, is what carries you across years. The difference between amateurs and professionals is not talent, but consistency. Professionals stick with the schedule even when they do not feel like it. They recognize that mastery is not about heroic bursts of effort, but about repeating the basics until excellence becomes second nature. Habits also work at a deeper level than performance. They shape how we experience time. A small choice today echoes into the future, multiplying its consequences. Saving a little money each month builds financial freedom. Ignoring your health for years erodes it beyond repair. Clear describes time as the magnifier of our habits. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Every day, you're planting seeds. Eventually, you will harvest what you have sown, whether bitter or sweet. Habits are powerful not only because they influence what we do, but also because they unlock what we are capable of becoming. Once you build a foundation of consistent routines, the next challenge is to channel them into greatness. Talent plays a role, but habits are the structure that allow talent to express itself. Genes set the boundaries of possibility. They may determine how tall you are, how fast you can run, or how easily you learn certain skills. But habits decide how far you move within those boundaries. Clear explains that the key is to choose habits that align with your natural strengths. When effort feels rewarding rather than draining, you are far more likely to stay consistent. This is why some people thrive in mathematics while others excel in art. The trick is not to force yourself in every possible domain, but to find the areas where practice feels like play and progress feels natural. Even then, motivation is fragile. That is why Clear introduces the Goldilocks rule. Humans stay most engaged when challenges are not too easy and not too hard, but just on the edge of their current ability. Too simple, and boredom sets in. Too difficult, and anxiety crushes momentum. The sweet spot is just beyond comfort, where effort stretches you without breaking you. The best performers in any field live in this narrow zone, constantly adjusting their habits to keep themselves challenged, but never so much that they quit. Yet even the best habits carry a hidden risk. When something becomes automatic, it is easy to fall asleep inside the routine. You follow the pattern, but growth stops. A runner logs the same distance at the same pace. A worker completes tasks efficiently, but never improves. Habits that once built mastery can eventually become the walls of stagnation. To avoid this trap, you must combine consistency with reflection. Review your habits. Ask whether they are still serving your goals or if they have become mindless rituals. True mastery comes not from blind repetition, but from deliberate practice, where you consciously refine and stretch your abilities. Clear's message is not that habits alone will deliver perfection, but that they're the foundation upon which all other progress rests. Without habits, ambition collapses under its own weight. With habits, even modest ambition can compound into extraordinary results. In the end, your life is not shaped by grand events, but by the small routines that quietly sculpt your days. To drive this point home, he reminds us that every action we take is a vote for the person we are becoming. Nothing is wasted. Skipping a workout is a vote. So is doing it. Writing one sentence, meditating for 1 minute, choosing the salad instead of fries. Each is a vote that adds up. No single action defines you, but the accumulation writes your story. This perspective shifts how you measure success. Instead of asking, "Did I reach the goal?" you ask, "Am I casting the right votes?" When you think this way, the pressure of outcomes fades. What matters is the direction of your system and the evidence of your identity. Over time, results follow naturally. The book closes with a simple but profound truth. Tiny changes, repeated consistently, create remarkable outcomes. Good habits make progress inevitable, while bad habits make decline unavoidable. Your future is not determined by sudden transformations, but by the small choices you make each day. The quality of your life rises or falls with the quality of your habits. Here are 5 practical takeaways to remember. 1. Focus on systems, not goals. Lasting success comes from the processes you follow each day, not the targets you set. 2. Make habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. These 4 laws of behavior change are the blueprint for building or breaking any habit. 3. Align habits with your identity. The most powerful form of change happens when actions become proof of who you believe yourself to be. 4. Embrace the plateau of latent potential. Results often lag behind effort, so stay consistent even when progress seems invisible. 5. Reflect and refine. Habits are a foundation, but deliberate practice and review keep them from becoming a trap of stagnation. You've listened to a summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear, created independently for educational purposes. If it resonated with you, consider buying the full book to explore it in greater detail. Finishing this summary is itself a powerful habit. It shows you value growth. As a small next step, choose one action you want to turn into a habit and scale it down to something you can do in under 2 minutes today. The seed you plant now may be the start of a transformation far greater than you can imagine.